What's up, surf fans? Welcome to World Surf Weekly. On today's show, we see how Sebastian Zietz quarantines with his family in Hawaii. We get to play Goofy vs. Regular with Matt Meola. CT standout Lakey Peterson gets hit with the rapid-fire Q&A. And we touch base with Brisa Hennessy as she rides out cyclones in Fiji. Let's jump right in. Welcome to World Surf Weekly. I am Chris Cote.
And I'm Erica Hosseini. And Chris, did you have some sort of tie-dye party?
I had a little bleach incident, but I think it actually kind of looks cool, so I'm just going to run with it. And, speaking of looking cool and running with it, you're looking cool in quarantine right now, Erica, but tell us, where in the world, if you could go anywhere right now, where would it be? Take us there.
Oh man, that's a good question. Someplace tropical, someplace with warm water, and definitely someplace where surfing is allowed. Not too sure exactly where that is, but that's my pick.
Okay, well those are three things and places that I want to be as soon as possible as well. And speaking of warm places where surfing is kind of still allowed with cool people, let's go check in with Sebastian Zietz and see what quarantine life has been like for Seabass in Hawaii.
Hey everybody, I know we're all going through a tough time right now with the coronavirus really messing up everyone's days. So I just wanted to take you guys through one of our days on hold.
Who farted?
I think my dog just farted. Babe, what have we been getting up to?
What are you doing?
Cleaning off the tarp so we can make a slip and slide for Millie. So we tried it out, but with our baby safe soap that was not slippery enough, it just didn't work out. So on to the next activity.
We're going to get some papayas for Millie, and we learned that if you chop a papaya tree down, it'll just grow right where you chopped it. So our papaya trees are way too tall. We can't get the papayas, so we're just gonna cut them down, and then they're gonna grow smaller.
Wait, don't let it fall on us.
Here it comes.
Which way is it gonna go? Oh, all the papayas fell off.
Alright guys.
Is that your cutting face?
Yes, very focused.
Similar to your surfing face.
I'm a dreamer. I don't know.
This one right here.
On to the next activity.
That's what I call the floppy top. This is when things can go really bad or really good. And it's never the same.
This is usually when she blows it.
I think it looks really good. You don't get this kind of service out in the salon.
Next activity.
Millie, where's the horsey? You gonna call him?
You're gonna bite your hand if you hold it up there. Activity.
This might look like a rager to you. This is just another Tuesday afternoon at the Zietz residence. Bubble pool party. Grills on. Pork chops are seasoned. And this is us. We live the life. Go, go. Oh man, we're deep. Back goes the section. Comes up. All a man needs, a dog, his baby, and his skateboard. Oh yeah, and his mic.
Mama.
Big bottom turn right here, big snap. Whoa.
Well, Chris, it looks like Seabass is definitely making the most of his time at home, hanging with the fam, and as per usual, staying stoked.
I wouldn't mind being adopted into the Zietz family right now. It looks like they're having a hell of a time in Hawaii. And speaking of Hawaii, let's stay there for a minute because we've got Goofy versus regular with one of the best aerialists on the planet, Matt Meola.
Cote, how are you, brother? I got the list. We'll be answering Goofy or regular, and everybody knows Goofy is good. Throwing shakas. Heck yeah, that's Goofy. It's like, as long as they throw them back. Chop hops. Goofy. Unless you're trying to fake an air with a chop hop, then that's as regular as it gets. Nude surfing. Depends who you're with. It also depends on what kind of wax you have, but I'm gonna give that a Goofy. Judo kicks. Goofy. Anything out of the ordinary gets a big old Goofy. Claims. If it's an uncontrollable freak out claim, that's Goofy. But if it's a planned out, try to get a score claim, that's a lame, not a claim. Zoom chats.
What?
I don't even know what that is. Astrology. I do feel a little bit weird on a full moon. Heck, I'll give it a Goofy. Metallica. Everyone loves Metallica. If you don't, you're regular.
Matt, Goofy is definitely good. And don't go anywhere, because Lakey Peterson got called up for the Q&A with Cote, and that's coming up next.
How did your grandfather come up with the idea for the Egg McMuffin? What's your favorite Australian slang?
Crikey dingo, mate.
Welcome back to World Surf Weekly. I'm Chris Cote, and while Lakey Peterson is self-quarantining in Australia, we figured this would be the perfect time to hit her up for the rapid fire Q&A.
Hello?
Hello? Lakey?
Chris. Oh no.
Come on!
I can see you. Can you see me?
Uh-oh.
Chris, a bit of a delayed reception out here in the bush.
All right, Lakey Peterson, this is rapid fire Q&A. I've got 20-something questions for you. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
How is life treating Lakey Peterson right now?
Life is treating me pretty good, to be honest. It's nice to have some time off.
Who is the greatest athlete in the world?
Kobe Bryant.
And what's been your favorite fan moment so far of your life?
Probably when this young girl came up to me and told me her name was Leakey, and her parents named her after me. Poor child.
Who is your spirit animal?
My husband tells me that it's Chewie from Star Wars.
How did your grandfather come up with the idea for the Egg McMuffin?
Because he loved Eggs Benedict, and he wanted to figure out a way to make Eggs Benedict in a to-go sandwich. So he created the little egg ring to make the egg stay around, and the rest is history.
And how many McMuffins do you think you've had in your life?
It'd be in the hundreds.
What do you love about living in Australia?
I would say the waves. The waves are pretty top-notch down under.
What's your favorite Australian slang?
Crikey dingo, mate.
Who is filming you right now?
My husband Tom.
Hey Chris,
Tom, do you have any questions for Lakey?
3 to 4 foot pumping winky, who would win, yourself or me?
I think I have you at 3 to 4 foot, and anything over 6 foot, you have me. Sorry, babe.
Lakey, what's the best place you've ever been in your entire life?
It's pretty hard to beat home, but I would say Fiji.
Where's a place that you've never been that you're dying to go to?
Morocco.
What is the most important muscle or muscle group for surfing well?
Oh, your brain. I've just now learned that out of my 9 years on tour.
What's the hardest maneuver for you in surfing?
Right now to learn is big barreling lefts.
We've been hearing you've been playing a lot of golf.
I have been playing golf. I'll hit one, I just gotta put the phone down. That was not good.
Well, it sounded good.
As long as it sounded good, that's all right.
Finish this sentence. I will be world champion if.
I can control my mind very well.
Use the strongest muscle in your body. Thank you so much, Leakey.
Thanks so much, Chris. Stay healthy and well, and yeah, we'll see you soon.
And for the record, that was my first ever interview done at nighttime in pajamas. So thank you for that, Lakey Peterson. Well, WSL Rewind is going to take us all back in time to 2017, where we all witnessed a surfing performance that will be remembered forever. I'm talking about Margaret River, John John Florence, 2017, and we have two of the best in the business, Joe Turpel and Martin Potter, discussing this incredible, game-changing performance by John John Florence.
Great to see you, Potts. Miss you, buddy. 2017, there was one event that was unbelievable for one man in particular, a guy named John John Florence.
You know, and let's talk about Margaret River a little bit. I mean, for me, it's a marriage made in heaven. I mean, I don't think I've ever seen anyone really revel in those kind of conditions like John John did. You know, you're looking at a fickle break or main break at Margaret River. The backup spots for me are the premier waves in the world, North Point and the box. And, you know, when you look at John John's skill set, I mean, it basically fits hand in hand with all of those spots. The thing that really put the cherry on the top for me was those front hand calves, Joe.
Those were unbelievable, and you're talking about the other venues, and those were sort of taking everybody's attention in the years past, from North Point to the box. The turning point for John John was, yes, he loves the box, he loves North Point, but he loves main break just as much.
For me, there was a change in John John that year. You know, it looked like he got a little bit bigger. You know, he was rocking that little beard, and, you know, he was looking like a man that was out of the Wild West, and you know, basically rewrote the whole way of you know, surfing main break. And I think from now on, what's happened is now that's the bar. That bar's been set so damn high. You've got to look at the future world champions are going to thrive to go there because they want to be able to ride main break as good as John John Florence did. And for some reason, I don't think we're ever going to see that again.
He had this aura about him in the locker room that was really significant. He just looked so much faster. He looked like he wasn't just surviving those 10-foot faces, he was still dictating the pace of play. And that aura was just established as this guy is now the current best surfer in the world, period.
You know, current best surfer, period, in all kinds of conditions as well. I mean, to be able to surf Margaret's like that, I mean, the turns that he was doing, you need to have the same sort of structure as John John has. I don't think anyone's got that. Elasticity, I mean, all those that training that he's been doing with Kid Pellegro, I think it all came together that day.
The marriage of John's confidence of being the defending world champ and then getting a board that clicked that John Pizell made with that ghost model allowed him to push as hard as he wanted. I was surprised that he actually had small fins in that board, but that long, clean rail line was designed to actually just hang onto that rail. If the lip would disappear or change shape like it does at main break, his turns were never questioned. Yep. He had so much purpose in every maneuver.
You look at that board, and I think that could have been the telltale sign. That board found its perfect condition. John John was performing at his utmost highest, and mentally, physically, everything came together for him. And through that entire event, we just saw something that rewrote the history books on professional surfing. And I honestly believe, I don't think we're ever going to see a performance like that at main break ever again.
It's basically going to be our little benchmark in history of a power lesson in surfing, variety, flow, and that ultimate freedom that you definitely picked out that year.
You know what? The only other guy I remember really getting scores for one big turn like that was Sonny Garcia. He won a world title on that front side hook, and John John's got a little bit of that in there as well. So maybe that's where it's coming from. But, you know, he's an amazing talent. It's going to be interesting to see, you know, where, you know, coming through these strange times that we're in at the moment, where it's going to start, how it's going to start, and if John's fired up or not.
So true. I can't wait to see him back in the West because he definitely owns it. That's John's. I wouldn't mind if he bought a home there one day.
I'll take my hat off to that one.
Yeah, brother. Awesome, Potts. Thank you.
Yeah, Joe.
It's not superlative to say that was one of the greatest performances in surfing history. Thank you, John John Florence. To watch the entirety of the WSL Rewind from the Margaret River Pro 2017, Tune into WorldSurfLeague.com this coming Wednesday to Friday. But don't go anywhere right now, because I've got Erica Hosseini catching up with Brisa Hennessy, who's not only been self-quarantined in Fiji, but also writing out cyclones. You're going to love this interview. It's coming up next.
Welcome back to World Surf Weekly. I'm Erica Hosseini. Now, most people would pick Fiji as their place to be quarantined during a pandemic, and I had the chance to catch up with someone doing just that. Women's CT ripper Brisa Hennessy on Namotu.
Hennessy to set up that lip to hit, crushes that first section. 19-year-old rookie needs a solid finish and gets it.
This is the future of our sport right here, right now, Joe.
All right, Brisa Hennessy, welcome to World Surf Weekly. You are a global nomad. You're splitting your time between Costa Rica, Hawaii, Namotu. I'm extremely jealous. So what's it like where you're at right now? Paint us a little picture.
Thank you. Yeah, my parents and I call each other the houseless nomads, and currently I'm very lucky to be on Namotu at the moment. I am here with my parents, I think a few Fijians and 2 lifeguards, so it's a super small crew. But we're kind of making sure that the island's maintained and we're all safe.
Let's talk about Harold. You seem to be a bit of a cyclone magnet from what I hear. But tell us about Cyclone Harold. What has that been like? I mean, during, before, after, the cyclone came through Fiji?
Yeah, it's crazy. I swear. Well, especially my dad, it's weird. There's always like a cyclone or a hurricane wherever he goes. The Cyclone Harold, of course, wasn't supposed to be as gnarly as it was, but we don't have that big of a crew here, so we're like, okay, we just gotta make sure everything's locked up, and then we wake up and it's just like hectic. There was sand everywhere in places that you never thought could get to. Like, we live upstairs and there was sand upstairs. It was ridiculous.
Oh my gosh.
So we had to all come together and clean up. It took us around 10 hours, so I was really proud of us.
Well, I mean, this was going to be a huge year for you. Your, official year on the championship tour, and also the Tokyo 2020 Olympic Games. What was your reaction when you heard that both these things had been put on hold and postponed?
Jeez, I think it's still a little surreal to me, but I kind of believe that everything happens for a reason, and I've been constantly on the go for, I guess, since I started competing, and I've never had this long of a break. I've been able to kind of connect back with myself and Mother Nature and my family and do things that I didn't have time to do before.
Well, that's awesome. Well, okay, now moving on, I know you're actually involved with the WSL Stay Local campaign. Can you tell us a little bit about the businesses you're supporting?
Yeah, I think it's so amazing that WSL has created that campaign, and the athletes are able to get involved as well, and I think it's so cool. So I'm really lucky to be able to support 2 local businesses, one here in Fiji and one in Costa Rica. The one in Fiji is actually a local grocery store called Meola, and it's on another island. They get all their produce from local farmers. I want to support them by getting groceries and goods and give it to some of the islands that were affected by Cyclone Harold and, of course, the virus. The second one is a surf school in Costa Rica. It's actually a crazy story because when my parents moved there, they opened up a surf school and they met a local kid named Pollo, and he ended up working for them. And now he runs the business, and he was such a big inspiration in my life as far as surfing. And so he's now running the business, and now I just want to give back by buying some surf lessons for some of the local kids.
Oh, that's so cool of you. And I'm sure they're so grateful as well. And thanks for joining us, Brisa. And hey, awesome work with the Stay Local campaign. Stay safe down there in Fiji.
Thank you so much for having me. It was so nice to meet you and talk to you. And yeah, I'll be thinking about everyone in the world right now. I'm sending good energy and lots of love.
For more on Brisa's Namotu digs, you can check out Lawn Patrol on WorldSurfLeague.com. But now, with the Big Wave Awards coming up, it's time for round 2 of Make or Break with Kaipo and Pete.
Welcome back to another edition of Make It or Break It, where Peter, Mel, and I break down double extra large waves, guessing whether the rider's going to make it or he's going to break it. How you doing, Pete?
I'm great, Kaipo. Good to be back here for Make It or Break It. What do we have on tap for today?
We're going to start the day off ride number 1, Grant Twiggy Baker at Jaws, Peahi, Maui, December 12th of last year. Let's take a look. Is this a make or is it a break?
Well, we've got it pegged right now. Down the face, angle right. Everything looks good for a make in this one, Kaipo. Getting to that inside section, though, you always have to worry, especially with foam on the face, but a good high line gets him to the channel. Definitely a make for Grant Twiggy Baker.
And showing why, he is a former big wave world champ, steady legs, appropriate line, and most importantly, Peter, as we look at it, an early entry.
Yeah, the early entry here, especially with the wind at Peahi, always makes it difficult. Pointed the nose down and the angle, always heading towards that channel. Such good lines from him. Always has been from Grant Twiggy Baker. That's why he's a 2-time world champion.
All right, Pete, taking a look at the second wave, this time a backhander at Jaws, Francisco Porcella. Is this going to be a make or is it a break?
Kaipo, this one looks to me a little bit too late. I would have to say it's going to be a break. I mean, especially with all the wind up the face. Peahi, wow. Let's see what happens here. As it... He was way too high up in the lip and is turning down the face, trying to get the angle like we saw from Twiggy. Not available there to him, especially with all the wind up the face. And see how convex the face is? That's one of the things about Peahi. It is a barrel, a gigantic barrel. Gotta love it from Francisco Porcella.
Yeah, he's going for it. Francisco, send that in for the Wipeout of the year when we look to the Double XL Awards. Taking a look at another wave at Jaws at Peahi. This time, it's San Diego's JoJo Roper on the takeoff, Peter. Make or break, I ask you.
Well, way too high up in the lip to start this one out. I would have to say for sure it's going to be a break, but he is at least pegged to his feet. Let's see what happens. Oh, again, that was the break. You can't do that at Peahi. You can't get that high up in the lip, especially with all that wind, Kaipo, and you always end up paying the price.
Yeah, air under the board and a big wipeout for JoJo Roper, but he still can send his entry in to
the Big Wave Awards.
Of course he can. Now we're going to take a look at Irish Waters, Muglamore Head, and the Moroccan Jerome Sayoum taking off. He's getting towed into the slab, Peter. Make it, break it, let me know.
All the speed, he accelerated off the rope. Wave face looks clean. I'm going to say this is a make, Kaipo. Everything looks too good. Oh, complete and utter opposite of what I thought. I mean, everything needed to be on that inside rail, and it went to the opposite rail, and that was a nasty wipeout, Kaipo.
Taking another look at this one, and it is a nasty wipeout. Gets caught on his heels, and it's just a giant bowl of Irish mashed potatoes. Mashed up, smashed up, all done. Valiant effort, however.
Mulgamore ate him up, Kaipo.
Well, that's it for Make It or Break It. Thank you so much, Pete. I always enjoy talking to you. Can't wait to get back on the road with you, but at this time, we're going to stay in shelter, and we're going to keep on bringing you content over here.
Stay safe, Kaipo.
Thanks, guys. And to check out more Big Wave makes and breaks, head to worldsurfleague.com/Big Wave Awards. And now, to keep your lockdown boredom at bay, WSL is going to be dropping a weekly dose of the Taylor Steele collection. And this week, it's Stranger Than Fiction. Here's what Taylor had to say about making the film.
Hey guys, Stranger Than Fiction. Yeah, that was a movie that was sort of the finale in the section-based movies. It started with Momentum, went through Loose Change and all these ones, and then Stranger Than Fiction was the final one that I directed. Dane Reynolds got the last section, and he was in the edit bay, and I remember he wanted to use a lot of waves that were just falls and not that good, just to make it look like he wasn't trying too hard, which I thought was fun. Parko had a funny, he got all of his waves in 2 hours, and Andy was supposed to be with us. For some reason, the ride didn't show up in time, and Andy showed up like an hour and a half late. He showed up right as the wind was blowing out, and Parko just did a huge air right in front of him as he was paddling out. And then it just really blew out, and it was like the session was done, and Andy was so pissed. I think he was snapping at everybody the rest of the day. And Parko was just rubbing it in. He's like, I got my whole section in 2 hours. I'm gonna fly home early. For me, it was really when I saw Kai Neville as really elevating from, sort of working for me to doing his own thing. I think from there he made Modern Collective next, so we just sort of like handed the ball to him and let him run from there. That's sort of my Stranger Than Fiction story. All right, see you guys.
Oh, that was so cool. It's so great to hear Taylor's insights. The collection presented by Michelob Ultra Pure Gold is live now at worldsurfleague.com, and each week we'll showcase a different Taylor Steele film. And don't even think about going anywhere, because we're about to review what has us stoked this week in, yep, you guessed it, the set of the day.
Welcome back to World Surf Weekly, and this week on WSL Pure's One Ocean podcast, our very own Risa Pacheco catches up with Lakey Peterson and Connor Coffin to not only talk about 50 years of Earth Day, but also discuss the connection between Earth Day and their hometown of Santa Barbara. Check out this clip of Risa and Connor.
We get into this conversation, and it's about individual actions versus big systemic change, and the reality is we need both. You know, the individual cleaning up their beach is not going to stop ocean plastic pollution, and it's not going to save the ocean. But when lots of people do that and get engaged in the fight and then go collectively vote together, it becomes really powerful.
For sure, and it's cool to see the smaller individual movements pay off and create a bigger systemic reaction to something. And like even, you know, just the beach cleanups, now you see people doing them all over the world and people really making a dent in some of the plastic, and that hopefully swims upstream and starts to tackle the problem at a deeper level. And I will say it's been pretty crazy with the COVID-19, and maybe it's something positive that'll come out of it, is the way that a whole world, our whole global economy, all the countries have really banded together and are like, okay, we got to stop this. And I mean, some more than others, but when something's a really serious problem that gets put in front of people, it's like action is actually taken. And it's just interesting to see, because sometimes I'm sure you feel and other people feel that you're beating your head against a wall trying to, you know, bring something to people's attention. And, you know, this one's kind of slapped everyone in the face and hasn't given us a choice. So it's crazy to see the difference that actually we can make when we get behind something.
Be sure to subscribe to WSL Pure One Ocean wherever you get your podcasts for new episodes. And definitely don't miss the Earth Day episode that's dropping this Wednesday.
I will be tuning in for sure. Erica, are you ready? Are you ready for set of the day?
Oh, you know it. I was born ready. Let's hit it.
And here we are for this week's set of the day. We're going to start it off in the cosmos. We're talking about the launch heard and seen around the world. John John Florence needing a huge score against Mick Fanning in round 4 at the Rip Curl Pro Bells Beach 2017. John needed a 9.3. He went above and beyond, literally, and basically breaking the internet, and the crowd went wild on the beach. This is one of the best airs ever seen in competition, period.
Yeah, that was some insane surfing. Oh my God, and speaking of insane surfing, we have Vaheen Fierro also doing some interesting things at home on the Home Break Challenge.
Look at this, nice. Keep moving, let's go, stay low. Let's go, right there, stay low, right there, go, right there.
Oh, she sounds a lot like Raymana here, coaching her sister into the barrel.
Yep, for sure.
Must be something happening in Tahiti.
Only in Tahiti.
Let's go, let's go. Go, right there, go, right there. Love you. Love you.
So good. Well, from there, let's go to here. One of the best 25-year-olds in the world. Happy birthday, Felipe Toledo, on April 16th. He turned the big 2-5. And maybe in 2020, for his 25th year on this planet, he'll potentially get a world title. Who knows? Either way, Felipe Toledo, happy birthday, buddy.
Happy birthday, Felipe. And what is this? Oh yes, the Lego Man. You know, only if I could paddle into a couple of desk waves like this with some crumpled up piece of papers for my whitewash back spray there. Right, Chris?
I'm loving this so much. I've watched this by myself about 8 times, and then I watched it again with my kids about 8 more times. And I do have some Legos you can borrow, Erica, for hashtag Home Break Challenge. Peter Pickford went all in.
Oh yes, so good. Oh, well, that was fun, Chris. You got anything else for us?
Well, after we finish taping the show, I'm going to try to figure out 3rd grade math in Spanish. Any tips?
Oh gosh, that sounds intense. Well, that does it for World Surf Weekly. We will see you next week, and stay safe out there.
Do you like that? Well, if so, subscribe over there and then watch more videos over there. And then tell us your favorite videos down there. It's a 3-step process. Do them all now.